Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this 2 o'clock hour of my live show right here in June, the end of June already. Thank you for joining me today. I have the most inspiring and such a great show. I want you to stick around and listen to this show. I think that everybody, no matter who you are, can take something away from my amazing guest today. And if you're not driving and you have a pen or pencil with you, I want you to take down this number so you can become part of this conversation too, because you have reached my show with me, Debbie Carlin Boyle. This is Conversations that Connect to a Healthier You. And my guests come on because they have a way to help you get in alignment and get a healthier lifestyle going. And they're all experts in what it is that we're talking about for each show. So write this down. It's area code 323-524-2599. I'm going to say it again so you can call in, 323-524-2599. Now, if you just want to make a comment, we'd love to hear from you at any point during the show. If you have a question for myself or my guest, we would love to hear from you. And if you're watching post-show or listening post-show and you still want to be part of the conversation, to do that, you're going to go to my Facebook page, Balanced Life by Debbie. .com. We are not streaming live there, but we will be up live in an hour, or not live, but we will be posting it in an hour. Facebook Live is down, but we are streaming live on my YouTube channel, which is Balanced Life by Debbie, DEBI, YouTube. And there, at any point, even a year, 2 years, you name it, after the show, you can make a comment, ask a question, and get involved in the conversation, because we keep it going beyond what we're doing here in the room today. And I'll get a hold of my guest if the question is for them, and they'll get back to you. And we'll keep it going and going. I'm still having conversations with people from 8 years ago, believe me. So, and why I have you, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a personal trainer, a fitness instructor, and a health and nutrition coach. And so my mission is to help people find balance in their life so we can be preventative to create longevity with quality. And a lot of times people need a coach to help them realize, or to help them with something they may be struggling with, whether that's diet or exercise or creativity, or where you want to, where your job is, what's going on in your environment, your family life, your community. I'm here to put all those issues for you together into alignment to make your life a little less stressful, which is going to create some longevity with quality. My big mantra is always age young, and I want to help you do that. So to get a hold of me, you're going to want to go to my website, which is balancedlifebydebbie, DEBI.com. And there you're going to see all the things that I'm about and all the things that I do besides personal train and cook for people. And I do supermarket tours, show you how to read labels. And I work one-on-one with clients with their exercise, meet them where they're at. I have clients that have been with me for a very long time, and my oldest client is approaching 90 now. And so we're giving her a good quality of life by keeping her moving. So if you go to my website, you'll see get a free consultation with me. And all you have to do is click on that and get a hold of me. And for 1.5 hour, we're going to talk about what might be sticking for you, that you would need a coach to help you create some sort of balance for yourself and get rid of what's ever bringing you back down. So don't hesitate to get a hold of me or just go and say hi. I like to hear from you, and I do get people after my shows reaching out to me. So I, again, appreciate you joining us today. And if you're joining us live, the number here is the area code 323-524-2599, because I'm about to do the introduction, and you just might want to become part of this conversation when we get into it. So today, my guest, I've got a show for you that's with a remarkable person who has a remarkable story. Christie Miller is a fun-loving, action-oriented mindset and business coach, motivational speaker, and author of The Playlist for Life. Her career has spanned roles as a financial analyst, corporate attorney, interior designer, and even an LA County sheriff. These diverse adventures were not just jobs, but stepping stones towards her real calling, which is coaching others to believe that anything is possible and helping them overcome their fears so they can play to win in all areas of their life. Christie lives in Southern California with her husband, Mark, who she fell in love with during an unforgettable 72-hour blind date in 1987, and their beloved Labrador, Winnie. Born prematurely and addicted to drugs, Christie was not expected to survive, let alone thrive. Yet her true strength shines through not only in overcoming these early challenges, but also in her battle with stage 4 breast and brain cancer that began in June of 2022. Recently declared a radical remission miracle, Christie's journey is a powerful testament to her invincible spirit and the life-changing mindset techniques she champions. Please welcome the remarkable Christie Miller to the show. It's all right, you.
Thank you so much.
Now I can hear you. Yes, there we go. Now we got you. Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. And full disclosure, Christie has been on my show before. I had a co-host, as most of you know, Del and Debbie's Mind, Body, and Soul. And Christie was a guest back then, and we were talking about your career as a success coach and helping people with that. And then I joined one of your seminars in Palm Springs. I don't know how many years ago that was, but I got to spend, I think it was a weekend. It might have been a couple of weekdays, but it was really fun. And I made a friend. She lives in New York, and it was just, I went alone. Dell had an emergency and couldn't come. So I've known Christie for a little while. And then I started in the last couple of years, your Facebook started coming through my feed, and I saw that you had some challenges that you were dealing with. And I just kept reading and seeing all these things that you handled with such grace and positivity, and I was so drawn in by it that I had to get you on the show. So I got a hold of you, and lo and behold, you drove in from Long Beach, and here you are today, and I so appreciate it. Before we get into the story, I want to get into you and your backstory, your where it all began, where you were born. You have, I mentioned you had a lot of careers before you landed as a success coach. And I want to talk about that sort of ride that you took to where you sit today as a coach.
Okay. So we joke, my husband and I joke that I have career ADD.
Okay.
And so
That's okay,
yeah,
by the way.
Exactly. I dive deep, and then I feel like I ring the bell and I'm like, I'm good. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go on and do something else. And it's always about challenging myself and growing. So all these different careers, the financial analyst, the corporate attorney, the interior designer, the LA County sheriff, the health coach, the business coach, the mindset coach. I believe like all of that was orchestrated to really get me to the place where I am today with all of those skills and knowledge and talent.
So, but you did go. I mean, so let's start. So, where were you born? Where were you
Los
raised?
Angeles.
You're a LA girl.
I am.
Where about in LA?
Sherman Oaks, California was where I grew up.
Oh, okay. I grew up in Encino.
Yeah,
so we
so
grew
close.
up,
Yeah.
really close to each other.
Yeah.
And then you went to college to study what? Did you?
Business.
Okay.
Business administration.
And then when you came out, what was the first of those careers?
The first one was a financial analyst.
Okay.
And that was all planned. And I remember one of my favorite professors had said, all right, all you spoiled brats, because I was at USC, University of Spoiled Children, as they called it. I don't want to see any of you going to graduate school or law school right out of undergraduate. Like, go and get experience. Don't just live off of mommy and daddy. And I didn't have mommy and daddy that were going to pay for anything else. Like, they got me through undergrad. Go work. So I went and worked for 5 years. And I didn't know if I wanted to come back and do law school or an MBA. And I just let God, universe, spirit, divine intervention decide for me. So I took the LSAT for the law school entrance exam. And then I forget what it is for graduate school. But I took both tests. I'm like, whichever one I score higher on, I'm just going to let that be the sign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And next thing I know, I'm in law school.
Wow. That's really throwing it out there.
Yeah.
And then how did that go? Where did that lead you?
That led me to be a corporate attorney, a job that I absolutely loved.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I did mergers and acquisitions, public offerings, dealing with the Security and Exchange Commission, really smart CPAs, and it was so challenging and so exciting. It's like the thrill of the deal until it's not. And I was working on an $8.6 billion deal as the lead attorney, and my dad was dying.
Oh, no.
And he was a workaholic. I was a workaholic. He smoked too much. I drank too much. He ate bad food. I ate bad food. Mm-hmm. And I just saw how the train was ending. Mm-hmm. And his train crashed. And I knew this is the one moment in time, I'm getting goosebumps saying this, that I can get off this train and be a survivor. Yeah. Because I'm driving my life into the ground just like he did. Yeah. Because he loved what he did.
But it was stressful. And
it was
that
stressful.
Stress and caused you to be on the fast train, like you said, of not taking care of yourself, not paying attention to all the things that we should be paying attention to in the self-care categories, especially food being the number one driver to illness. So you saw what you didn't want. So you stepped off that train and stepped into being a sheriff?
No. So I stepped off that train and did nothing for a year except play golf.
Okay.
And that was my obsession. I'm going to get down to a single-digit handicap. I'm going to take video lessons, and I did it all. And after about a year, I'm like, I just can't hang out with the country club women. I'm just so bored. Like, yeah. I need challenge. I need substance. I need intellect. And so we had, I think this is the order. It's been so long now. I think that's when I went into interior design.
Oh, okay.
Because I was remodeling our house, and it eventually got published in Coastal Living magazine. Oh, fun. So I was doing that for a while, and then I realized I don't like dealing with contractors, let alone sleeping with them, other than my husband, who owns a roofing company. And I left that, and then later on eventually became an LA County Sheriff. I might be leaving out a career. There's so many of them. And the LA County Sheriff, I just wanted to go enjoy a little bit of midlife badassery. Can I say that?
Yeah, of course. Okay. You can just say anything you want here.
Midlife badassery. It was never intended to be a long-term career. And I did that for about a year. But
you got to go through all that training and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that's time consuming?
It's a full-time job. It's time consuming. It was one of the hardest things I had done to that point in my life, because law school is intellectual. Okay, you study, you perform. The Sheriff's Academy is, yes, you're studying because there were tests, and I wanted to be the top academic recruit, which I ended up being because I studied so hard.
Wow.
But then it's all the physical work. And on top of that, you have people there, the drill instructors, who are meant to break you down.
Oh, so it's true what we see on TV and movies.
Oh, it is hardcore.
Because they're trying to weed out the weak, probably.
Yes, because they have to, because you're going to get in these situations at some point where you have to be able to think quickly, be confident, be powerful, even if you're shaking in your boots. And so it was intense on every single
And you got
layer.
through all of that, trying to break you down stuff. You're like, I can do this part too, aside from just the written academic part. You really broke through. And so how long, what department did you work in? Were you?
Well, if you're going to do it, you got to go to LA County, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like not just some little safe podunk town.
Yeah.
No, it was LA County. And one of my first calls when I was still in the academy was a gunshot wound to the head.
Oh, lovely.
And we literally were first on scene. The ambulance had beat us there and they'd already taken the victim. And then we're in the trauma center. And my partner was bilingual and he's talking to this victim who unbelievably he could speak despite
having a bullet in his head. Yeah.
And I was just standing there like just in awe. I'm like, oh, I should have been a surgeon. This is the coolest thing.
Oh no, new job.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to medical school. No.
Wow. And then, so how long did that last? That you?
It was about a year.
And then you left because
I left
ready to ring the bell and move on.
I wasn't really quite ready. I left due to the misbehavior and the corruption.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm like, I'm not going to be a part of this. The way they treated me as a deputy, constantly trying to break me down. And at that point, you're on their team.
Yeah.
You know, and saying stuff in the hallway like, LA, like a lawyer, yeah, right, USC, so spoiled.
That's
a
ignorance.
superior would say that as I'm walking by, and I'm not allowed to talk back.
Right.
It's like, what are you threatened by? I'm a rookie deputy. Like, there's nothing to be threatened.
It's just jealousy. It's obviously envy, and it's mean.
Yeah, and just the inhumane way that they treated the inmates. And it's not to say that I am an inmate lover.
Yeah.
But our job as the sheriffs, if you're working in the jails, is I need to feed you, I need to clothe you, I need to keep you safe. I am not here to be the punishment police.
Right.
The court has already done that, and this is your sentence. And just the way that my fellow female deputies would treat the female inmates so inhumanely.
Oh my gosh.
You wouldn't do this to your worst enemy.
Oh,
and it was a power
gosh.
trip. And I'm like, I would call them out on it. Privately, and then I'd be taken in for insubordination.
Oh,
yeah.
geez.
So I finally said,
you needed to move on. Plus, you were absorbing all of that angst, all of the stuff that you were seeing, which again, it doesn't contribute to a healthy, a healthy lifestyle that's surrounding you. So you moved along and became a coach.
Yes.
And that's where you felt comfortable. That's where you knew that you should land there. So, and you were quite successful at it. Like, you are successful at manifesting. I know that, because tell the audience how, just like this fun fact, that you were able to win 3 cars. What was that, and how did that happen?
These are the crazy things in my life that I don't realize how crazy they are until I hear somebody else say it. So I won my first car. That was on a game show in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a Mazda RX-7 or 323.
Oh my
I forget.
God.
No, it wasn't an
Amazing.
RX-7. It was a 323. So I won that car on a game show called Break the Bank, and I broke open the bank and $35,000 in cash and prizes, which feels like $20 million when you're in college.
Of course,
right?
Especially back then.
Yeah. So that one wasn't necessarily manifested, but I won my first car. Then my second car, I was in a business competition. So it was based on performance. And I wasn't going to enter this contest because I figured, the coach's favorite people will win. Like, she doesn't even know me. There's 700 people eligible for this. I'm not even going to enter the contest. And a couple days before you had to submit all your paperwork and financials, I was like, I'm doing it. And then in my brain, I shifted to, I'm the Porsche winner. And this wasn't an ego thing. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm better than everyone else, I'm the Porsche winner. It was me just creating that identity and acting like that person. And I got to the point where I kind of felt sorry for anyone else that was in the contest.
Because you just knew.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm the Porsche winner.
Yeah.
Like, of course I'm going to win. And the day before they announced the winner, I sold my car.
Because you knew you were going to have a new one the next day.
I did. And I told my husband, Mark, he came home. He's like, where's your car? I said, oh, I sold it. He's looking at me like,
you were selling
like,
it.
What? You're crazy. And I said, well, I needed to tell the universe there was space in the garage for the new car. And he looks at me and he just goes, you could have parked it on the street. I was like, no, it's gone.
And then sure enough, the next day you won the Porsche.
It won the Porsche, yes.
And then I think you won a car somewhere around the time you did the seminar in
that was the
Palm
one.
Springs.
That was the business contest.
Oh, that was the business contest. And then there was another one after that.
Yeah, about I think 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I was in an affiliate contest and the grand prize was a Tesla. And I was like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I love my Porsche because I had sold the one that I won and got a new one in the color and with the style and everything that I wanted. And I was like, Tesla, like, either you're a Tesla person or you're not. And I'm just not. I can't keep my iPhone charged, let alone an electric car.
I get it.
So I was in the contest not to win, but to spread the word about this great product that I use. And it was like the night before the contest ended. It was first and second with my good friend Molly. And I was like, wait a minute. Why aren't I playing to win? And I ran across the street. Our neighbor had a black Tesla. And I took a picture in front of it. And that night I wrote, I don't know how many times I wrote, I'm the Tesla winner.
Oh my gosh.
And I just kept visualizing it and taking more massive action, sending last minute emails out for people to buy this product. And sure enough, I was the Tesla winner. And if my memory's correct, it was like by one or two sales.
Insane that you did that 3 times. But it's also what I was saying earlier, a tribute to the story that we're going to tell, that you're going to tell right now, and how you can manifest, and how if you see it and work at it, you can change it to make it to your advantage.
Right.
Let's start with the story. Tell us what happened of June of 2022.
Sure. It was a Saturday morning. I was in the shower, going through the motions like any other day, and I felt the bump. And I instantly knew. And this wasn't me trying to get to the level of anxiety or going to the doom and gloom. Just my intuition knew this is breast cancer. I just knew. I felt it. I knew. And a couple weeks later, I get the mammogram and do everything and the biopsy and all of that. And I already know what the results are going to be. The pathology came out on our anniversary, but I didn't see it, which was good. And 3 days after our anniversary, I got the call that the results are in, come in and speak to the doctor. And that day happened to be the 33rd anniversary of me being told that my mom had terminal cancer.
Oh, no.
So all of these synchronicities, I won't say coincidences, they're definitely synchronicities. Yeah. And I remember the doctor looking at me, and she had a mask because it was still post-COVID. And she said, well, we found a little bit of cancer. There's no such thing as a little bit of cancer. It's like being kind of pregnant. Yeah. And I said, I know. Like, what's the game plan? Like, I was already there. Yes, there was a shock to actually hearing it.
But you already knew it.
I already knew through every ounce of my being. I would have been more shocked if she said, you don't have cancer.
Right, right.
And so very quickly when that happens, the human spirit is, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's fix this.
Yeah, because they do rush you through very quickly.
They rush you, and they're working on off of your emotions, because you hear you have cancer. It's like, get it out.
Right.
And so I got caught up in what I call the standard of scare.
Yeah.
And as I say this, I want to be very clear. My way isn't the only way.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
So each person needs to decide what way their intuition, their research is telling them.
Exactly.
But I got on the conveyor belt, the treadmill that was going so fast, into the standard of care, which was going to be 5 or 6 months of radical chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, and then 10 years of drugs. And I was signed up.
Yeah.
My husband was shopping for wigs. My assistant had changed my complete business schedule. And I was going until I started having dreams. And the first dream came, and I woke up after screaming, F no.
Right.
Apparently my intuition sometimes screams obscenities at me.
Yeah, that's okay. Whatever it does to get you to where you need to be.
Exactly.
It can be anything.
And I'm like, okay, you're scared. This is normal. Cancer is scary AF. All right.
Yeah.
And then the second night in a row, same message, slightly different dream. I'm like, oh, right, great. Am I going to have this every single night for the rest of my life? And then the third night again.
And so you saw it in your dream, or you woke up and went?
I was dreaming, and I heard like this screaming F no.
Okay.
Like all in this cancer journey.
Yeah.
And I took that, I interpreted that to mean chemo is not supposed to be my path.
Right.
And so I called my husband later that day after kind of thinking about it and really letting it marinate. And I said, I don't want to do chemo. And he said, I support you.
Wow.
Whatever
That's
your
great.
decision. Because 7 years earlier, or 6 years, he had watched his identical twin brother, Mikey, die of pancreatic cancer.
Oh, no.
And they had to stop the chemo because it was going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And this was at the same time my husband had testicular cancer.
Oh.
And so he's like, whatever you want, I'm going to be here to support you. And when I told the oncologist that I wasn't going to do chemo, I was told, we won't be able to save you in a year. You have a very aggressive type of breast cancer, HER2 positive. If you do it our way, we'll be able to save you. But if you don't do the chemo and the radiation and the drugs, we won't be able to save you in a year.
When you hear that, what is it that goes through your head when you haven't quite done the research or met the right people yet to help you go another direction? Do you just walk away from that and say, I'm going to figure this out?
If I was a robot, yes, but I am human.
Yeah.
So the first quick hit is, oh my gosh, am I making the biggest mistake of my life that can cost me my life?
Yes.
So it was just about hitting the pause button and really thinking about this, taking long walks on the beach, just listening to divine intervention, whatever it is, God, universe, spirit, Kermit the Frog, I don't care who's going to come through.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen, and really trusting myself and trusting my intuition that has never led me wrong.
No, obviously.
Yeah.
Those
I mean,
cars.
the 72-hour blind date with Mark. Well, we know how that worked out.
Yeah,
well.
yeah, really well.
So it was scary. I remember talking to my business coach and talking to a good friend and getting different feedback. One really good friend said, you have to do it. You have to do the chemo. And it was so interesting because she's so holistic in everything else except cancer.
Oh, okay.
And, I just had to sit with the decision. And I just, again, went back to those 3 dreams. I'm going to trust whatever was coming through, that this is it. And so scary. And when I made that decision, it came with certain commitments and protocols and a new identity and a promise to myself that I would never, ever, 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 no matter what happens, second guess that decision.
Okay, good.
Because anxiety and worry is going to create more disease.
I was just going to say that will put you back in the disease mode. So what was the protocol? What was it? Who did you find? How did you find them? Obviously, you're a well-researcher, studier, because we just heard your backstory, which is why I had you tell it. So what did you do? What did you go down? Who did you meet? How did you know that you could conquer this?
Yeah, I instantly called my assistant best friend Jane and said, I remember Hal Elrod, who has the book The Morning Miracle. I remember hearing him on a podcast saying that he had the most aggressive type of cancer and what he did to survive. I'm like, can you go find that podcast for me? Like, I'm just asking for support everywhere. She finds it. She says, it's podcast episode 211. My birthday is 211.
Oh, so there's all
I'm like,
this.
whoa,
Yeah.
goosebumps.
Yeah, meant to find it.
Yes, and then he mentioned somebody named Chris Wark, which is Chris Beat Cancer. And Chris has an entire protocol, which included going raw vegan, 95% raw vegan, whole foods, 100 ounces of juicing a day. I was doing so many herbs and supplements. And I recently just celebrated the 717th day of no sugar, no alcohol, and no fried foods.
Wow. Bravo. Bravo.
And those were three of my 4 food groups at the time.
Yeah, which didn't help
Right.
you.
You think?
Yeah. So was it just a drastic change? All of a sudden, you're eating raw, you're eating vegan, and it's really hard not to eat sugar. Well, if you're eating raw, it's not so hard to eat sugar, but going raw is really, really, really drastic. So did you get a book on how to prepare raw meals? Because you were doing fruits and vegetables, I'm assuming?
Yes, fruits and vegetables.
And juicing fruits and vegetables together. Did you already have a juicer? Were you doing? Yeah.
No.
So you had to go out and buy and see the juices. How did you know specifically for your body what combinations of foods and juices and things and supplements that your body needed? Because it's such an individual thing.
For the food and the juicing, I just put all of my faith and trust in Chris Wark and Chris Beat Cancer, because he had been diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. He had surgery and then just changed everything in his life. And this was his protocol. And I'm like, okay, it worked for him. Again, Christie, synchronicity there.
Yeah.
And so I followed his.
believed.
I didn't follow his supplements. I had a doctor that was testing me and sending my blood to Greece to figure out what would work and not work for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was.
So it's more of you took a functional medicine approach rather than a conventional approach, which basically came out of your pocket financially. Am I correct?
Yes. My husband and I have spent $200,000 in our healthcare over the last 2 years. That is not reimbursable by insurance. But hey, it's a really good tax deduction.
Well, there it is. And you can't put a price. You just saved your life.
Right.
So, and now you have a lifestyle, and now you have a practice that can save others. So there's a whole, you're going to get that money, and that will all come back to you, but you just had to set it aside. And lucky that you were able to go down and do that route. So
yes, I was privileged to be in that position.
did you do surgery to remove the cancer first?
Yes.
And then you went through this protocol.
I started the protocol, I think it was July 1st, or at least July 1st was when I hadn't been drinking alcohol much because I was supporting my husband who was not drinking alcohol. And so July 1st I was like, okay, everything's changing.
Right.
So that started, and then I interviewed and fired 3 or 4 different surgeons. The gamut went from you need a radical mastectomy to you can have a lumpectomy, but if you don't do chemo, you're going to die anyway, so what's the point? And I just kept researching different doctors until I finally found these 2 beautiful women doctors in Beverly Hills at the Bedford Breast Center. And when I walked in there, I felt like I was at home.
Oh, so you just knew. Isn't it funny when you know, when that connection, and you just know? That's amazing. And so they were on board with you going this route. And no, they wanted you to do chemo?
Not entirely on board. The surgeon had lost her mother to the same type of cancer before there was targeted chemotherapy for it. So she said several times that she really wished that I would reconsider. That was the oncology surgeon, so the one that removes the mass. And then the plastic surgeon, who we called the remodeler. We had the evictor and the remodeler.
I love that you name things.
Of course.
That you have it so so laid out so perfectly.
Yes. She, I think in one of my follow-up appointments, had said, I really like you. I wish you'd maybe reconsider the chemo. And I just said, no, it's not on the table.
Wow. Yeah, because you made that decision and you weren't going to go back.
Yeah, not at all. And so I just, even after surgery, it was just changing everything in my life, cut back on my work schedule by probably 60 to 80% in the beginning. And thank goodness for Jane, who was just keeping the business afloat. All I was showing up to do was coaching.
Yeah.
And some content creation. Everything else Jane was handling. I'm so blessed to have Jane in my life. And I just stuck to this protocol. I mean, so many people, they get the diagnosis of cancer, they do the treatments, and then they just go back to their old life.
Yeah.
But when I got diagnosed, I took 100% responsibility for somehow cracking the door open to allow JJ, that's what we named the mass, after two bad roommates.
Yeah, two bad roommates that had J's for their names.
Yes.
This just cracks
Exactly.
me up. It's part of the reason why you healed, because you took you infused a sense of humor into doing it and was like, there is no doubt this is going to work.
Right.
And you just, I love that you have everything laid out like that with a sense of humor all the way through.
It was JJ's farewell tour. We had graphics made that are fun. I had a logo created, Christie Crushed Cancer and Cancer is a Gift. Like, I was in it to win it. And I had decided early on that this is part of my story and will not be the end of it.
Yeah.
And so I did all the hard mental work to get to that place of knowing, because you have to start with hope, then you need to move into belief.
Okay.
But where the magic happens is when you get into the knowing. And in order to go from belief to knowing, there's so many processes and so much programming your subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is like a slave. It does not make decisions on its own. When you program it with your thoughts, with your goals, your visualization, it does everything in its power to open up the lanes for that to become your reality.
So do you do that through, it almost feels like you're meditating constantly or to manifest or to create the reality, so you don't, because there's always that, I always have good intentions, but then there's the little devil on the shoulder that's going, no, you can't. Who do you think you are? Blah, blah, blah. That's not going to work. Why do you think you deserve that? Those kind of things. And then there's those limiting beliefs that you all of a sudden go, okay, you're right. So how did you keep on track? How did you stay positive in manifestation and keeping the mind knowing? How did you do that?
Right. First off, I want to be very clear that I was not meditating all the time. Okay. I am new to meditation.
Okay.
I have the same challenges that every person has. In fact, I was recently doing a meditation and I had to start over like 22 times because I was at the part in my meditation where I was like, I don't even know how I got here. Okay. But I know I just solved 32 problems that I pretend that I have somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't there. And so I started over. So one meditation that I do is I named my immune system Homeland Security. And the leader of that is Captain Callie. She's a California girl. And I ask her to send out the troops. And so a big white light fills my body, healing and peace. And then millions and millions and millions of bright pink Pac-Men.
Oh, Pac-Man.
Go in through my head. And they go through every cell, starting in the head, all the way down to the tips of my fingers, tips of my toes. And they are just chomping any cell that's unhealthy. And so I do that. And I'm just putting it out there, telling my body, like, you are a natural, miraculous healing machine. Mm-hmm. When we cut our finger, we don't sit there and think, oh my gosh, I wonder if this is going to heal. No, our body knows how to heal
itself. Yes, it does.
And so I just had to create this place, this environment of slowing down, connecting, deepening my spirituality, talking to God for the first time in decades.
Yeah.
Hi, remember me?
Yeah.
and really just believing that cancer is a gift. It has its purpose. I am taking 100% responsibility, and that is so empowering.
I bet.
And I was never going to go to the victim side. There's no. That serves no purpose. Well, then
that's down the hole, and then you go to the negative. So,
right.
Wow. This is it's so inspiring and miraculous. Now you did this after the breast cancer, but then what happened?
Then 17 months after the breast cancer diagnosis, I had brain cancer surgery.
So, a question. How are you feeling now that you're doing all of these things, that you're eating so well, that you've cut so many bad things out, and now you're doing these manifestations and beliefs, and you know that you're going to be well? Were you feeling good? I
was feeling amazing. I was feeling better than I ever had in my life, looking better,
I bet.
Sleeping better.
Yeah.
Like everything was just such a high level of joy.
I thought so.
I mean, it was just, I get giddy when I say cancer is a gift. And I've had so many people just attack me when I say that, saying that it's disrespectful. Look, I've lost very important people in my life too.
Me too. Many family members.
Yes,
yeah, my parents.
We all have.
My aunt, yes.
But if I'm able to see the gift in that, and there was one saying that I heard early on. I remember I was driving in my car listening to Audible. And the person said, death is the universe's way of acknowledging a completed purpose.
Oh, and you weren't completed yet.
And I hit rewind, and then I listened to it again, and I remember just going, yes.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near done.
No.
Mm-mm. Maybe I'll go a little bit slower towards this purpose of mine. You know, joking. Can I test the universe? But that also gives me such great comfort for those that I've lost. I don't need to understand what their purpose was.
No.
But if I believe this saying to be true, who am I to question why they had to be taken from us?
Right.
It was their soul's purpose. Whatever it was, whether I understand it or not, they fulfilled it. And they're now on to the next thing.
Right.
And I'm nowhere
And you
close.
weren't ready. So did you start feeling bad? Did you have headaches? How did you, or you went in for a regular scan? How did they know that you had brain cancer? What made them go there?
So one of our scans that we had done had shown spots in the lungs. And I went to UCLA to get a low dose scan. And there's confirmed spots in the lungs. So we had confirmation twice. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do chemo. We don't know if it's cancer. The only way to figure it out is to do a PET scan with radioactive dye and all this bad stuff. I wasn't willing to do that because I'm not going to do chemo. So then I waited for a couple months. Then I went to, there's a company called Prenuvo that does a full body scan. It's an MRI. It's not radioactive. It's not radiation. And I had done that about a year before for full body. I mean, they pick up things practically like an ingrown toenail. Not quite,
like
but they get everything.
Everything.
And when you get your first set of results back, it can be scary because like I had bursitis, I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Yes,
I was like, what?
You see
no
things.
idea.
But the knowing is there are things I don't want to know. I've seen that with people, but there are companies that are starting up now, like Fountain Life, and there's something Mark Hyman's got going with his, where insurance doesn't cover it, but he's trying to make it affordable, that where you can go get all these tests.
Yes,
because you should know, and things like this. That's how are you're going to deal with them if you don't know, because they just get worse,
right,
or turn into something bigger or something else.
Exactly.
So,
and this scan is out of pocket, $2,500, head to toe. And it picked up the brain tumor. And so I say that Prenuvo saved my life.
Yeah.
So
otherwise
many things.
you wouldn't have known.
I wouldn't have known. I'd had some headaches, but nothing. Like I remember when I was speaking to our potential brain surgeon, he said, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I feel good. Every now and then I'm getting headaches. They're really dull. And he's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is the headache? And I said, I don't know, a 1 or a 2. I notice it, but it's not anything. I said, I was a corporate attorney. I was used to having headaches on a 9, 10, 12 scale.
Stress headaches.
This is nothing. And he looks at my husband like, is she not telling the truth? And Mark's like, she says it's like a gnat. Like, that gnat's there. It's a little irritating, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, you could live with it.
Yeah, and that became a quick rush to what's called gamma knife surgery, because when you have a tumor in the brain, you can have seizures. You can you don't want a tumor hanging out in your brain.
No. So you ended up having brain surgery, and then same protocol, same decision.
Yep.
No chemo. I'm going to stick with what's working. And I know you did this fast, right? Didn't you do a fast for like 17 days or something? It was only water.
Yes, water only fast, and a special type of molecular water that is all about the healing. It's called Spring Aqua. It's the healthiest water that you can get outside of, I think, some spring in Portugal.
Really?
Again, another big investment that we made in our home for my care.
Yeah.
And it was 17 days of water only. I had electrolytes.
Yes.
And one little shot of vitamin that my doctor wanted me to take.
Yeah, so it was doctor supervised, pretty much.
It was a doctor who had left conventional medicine. So I call her my coach because it can't be the doctor legal relationship.
Oh, okay.
But she is Dr. Katie. Shout out to Dr. Katie.
Yeah.
And she was just guiding me through the whole process. And a shaman was checking in on me energetically from afar. She was telling me that. And 17 days without food, I look back and I'm like, whoa.
How did you feel like, well, my guess is you already detoxed when you changed your diet a while ago. How did you feel? Were you lightheaded? Were you hungry all the time? You were actually posting, and that's when I caught up to you, is when I realized, oh, Christie's going through something.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, and you were saying things like F cancer, I've got this. And there were things that you were posting that I'm like, okay, but I didn't realize you had 2 cancers and that you had been dealing with it for over a year.
I don't recall ever saying F cancer. I might have in the very beginning.
Okay, maybe that was when
but for me, I can't heal by fighting an enemy. I need to embrace this for everything that it is and love myself healthy. I don't want that. I cringe every time I see somebody post F cancer and have the hashtag. I'm like, no, that's not the healthy way to heal.
Right, because it's a negative right away.
It's a negative, and I completely understand it. The first thing I did was buy socks that said, "Dear Cancer, you picked on the wrong bitch."
Yeah.
It's true, you did.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to fight this. This is not a battle. It's my healing journey.
Right.
And so the 17-day water fast, I had the brain surgery. I was healing. I'd gone to a conference and I got COVID.
Oh, okay.
And to the point where we were supposed to leave for Cabo San Lucas on a much needed and looking forward to vacation, and I had to cancel it because of COVID. And I was talking to Dr. Katie, and she's like, okay, this is a time to do a 30-day water fast. And I remember we were on Zoom, and I remember just crying. I felt so defeated. I felt like I had been kicked when I was down. And then I was like, game on.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And I'm like, the only way to do this is one day at a time. And then it got changed to, studies show that 10 days is enough.
Because it resets it gets rid of the bad cells.
Yes.
And kind of restarts you into the good cells.
Yes, your body will attack the unhealthy cells, the cancer cells, anything else that's out there. And so she had told me that I could stop at 10 days. And I'm like, I'm still feeling good. And there is scientific research that longer brings more benefits. So then I said I was going to go to 14. And I made it to 14. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go to 17 because 17 is my angel number that always shows up to indicate that I'm on the right path. And I said, okay, 17 days. So I did the fast for 17 days. Wow. You asked how I felt. Tired, lightheaded. The hunger, if I recall correctly, I wish I had journaled all this. This is the one mistake that I would switch. the hunger eventually goes away. Like, it's like the kid that cried wolf. Nobody listens to it.
Yeah.
And so it eventually went away. And somewhere around day 10, 11, 12, I got just a spike of such mental clarity and energy and feeling unstoppable and great for like a couple days and so focused, no ADHD. Like, I remember telling Dr. Katie that I sat at my desk and worked for like 9 hours straight. She's like, don't do that.
Yeah. Too much.
When you're fasting, you really should not even be watching TV or reading because your brain uses so much energy
stimulation
and calories. Yeah. But
you can't exercise, like you can't go for a walk or
no. I mean, you could go on a very slow walk. Yeah. But because of the lightheadedness on days, I'm like, I ain't leaving the couch unless my husband's with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it was just 17 days of doing pretty much nothing. And I actually did this over Christmas.
Oh boy, over the holidays.
Yes.
So you're really kind of locked in with your husband and just your water.
Yeah.
This was a year ago in December 2023.
Yes. Yeah. So it was again tapping so deep into my why power.
Yeah.
I am doing this to heal myself. The brain surgery does not cure cancer. It is meant to slow the growth down. Sometimes the tumor gets bigger because it's pissed off. And so I had actually forgotten all of that the doctor told us. And when he gave us our results, I say our because, it's a team effort. He was like, this is a complete win. This is atypical. This is not normal. We don't see this. And I was like, well, it's exactly what I saw. Because I was visualizing a scan without a tumor.
Knew. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was Dr. Katie who, after she looked at all the scans, because she was a oncology radiologist, so she's used to seeing all these, she looked at it and she said, you are a radical remission miracle and you are a manifesting queen.
Wow.
And that was the first time that I really felt the weight of cancer.
Yeah. Wow, Christie, that is some story. It's a miraculous story, but it's also a tribute to your tenacity and your bravery and your strength and your determination, and just so, and all with grace and love and humor is just amazing to me. And so I'm in awe of you, just in awe. I didn't take a break because I wanted to get the story out. And it's so you're now living this lifestyle. Are you still eating raw? And
no, based on Dr. Katie's recommendations, I have brought back in some animal protein.
Okay.
I would say I'm 50 to 60% raw. Okay. I'm still doing all the juicing.
Okay.
We gave up the 6 pounds of carrots a day.
Oh, that turns you orange.
Yes,
I did
orange.
that through college.
Yes, but still doing 64 ounces of green juice and no processed foods unless it's something like peanut butter and I can see the 2 ingredients.
Yeah, exactly.
Organic peanuts.
Gotcha.
Water.
Yeah.
It's healthy ingredients.
Right.
And just really staying focused on my identity and what a person with this identity, how she acts, how she behaves, how she shows up in the world.
Wow. And you've got this big, long future because your purpose is to help others now, which I absolutely love and respect you for. Let's tell the viewers how they can get a hold of you. And you do have a book out there, right? And how they can access your book or work with you, because you are a business coach and you are still working. Mm-hmm. You are working now. How can people reach you if they're not looking at a screen?
Right. So the easiest way is Coach Christie Miller on Instagram, and it's CHRISTIE Miller. So Coach Christie Miller. I continue to be a business coach. We've released a free mindset quiz, a free mindset workshop, and we have a incredible workshop coming up in July called Becoming Unstoppable, and then a course called Unleashed, Being Unleashed in August. And so I'm doing both. I'm doing business and mindset.
Love it. Unleashed was the saying I had as soon as after my marriage ended. After 34 years, it was like, unleashed. But that was, I don't know. That's a different connotation to
right. This is all about living the unleashed lifestyle.
Right.
Which there's a 7-part formula. You have to discover it, what got you here. You have to dream it. Dream like childlike curiosity, where you want to go. You have to defeat it, which is all those limiting beliefs and the ego saying you're not good enough, you can't do it. Then you need to design your plan to achieve it. Then you need to develop whatever the gap is, the skills in order to make it happen. Then you drive it, you take action, and finally the 7th step is celebrate.
Wow. And you did all those things. You did all those things. So you're living proof it works.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you're here to tell your story. Amazing story. So inspirational. Thank you so much for your time and energy coming out here all the way. I know it's not that easy getting home now. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I want to tell you, the audience, you can talk to Christie post-show, if you're listening after the fact. Just go ahead into the comment section of my Instagram, my YouTube, or my Facebook page, Balanced Life, all one word, by Debbie, Debi. Let me know what you think. Get the conversation going with you out there on Christie's journey. Thank you all again. I am so glad you joined us today, and we're going to see you in 2 weeks. But in the meantime, remember to keep going out and having those conversations that connect to a healthier you. Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you, Christie.
Thank you.